The hidden causes of daily exhaustion, understanding your body's secret connections. You're listening to Your Space Today, the podcast where we decode fatigue, stress, and burnout so you can rise again. Every Tuesday, we explore the hidden connections between your habits, your health, and your happiness, giving you the tools to take back your energy and your life. Hey there, welcome to Your Space Today. Today, we're going to talk about something that might be happening to you right now, something so common, yet so misunderstood. Picture this. You're lying in bed, alarm blaring, and even though you slept 8 hours, you feel like you've been hit by a truck. You drag yourself through the day, surviving on coffee and sheer willpower. Every conversation feels exhausting. Your body aches like you ran a marathon, except you've barely moved from your desk chair. And by evening, you're mindlessly scrolling through Netflix until 2 a.m. because somehow sleep just won't come. Sound familiar? Here's what might surprise you. Fatigue is one of the most common symptoms people report to their primary care doctors. Studies estimate that chronic fatigue, the kind that lasts for months, affects somewhere between 7 and 10% of adults worldwide. If you're nodding along right now, I need you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not lazy. And you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to uncover what's really happening inside your body when you feel this persistent exhaustion. We'll explore the hidden connections, those invisible chains linking your sleep to your weight, your posture to your pain, your stress to your immune system. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand your body in ways most people never learn. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into the real story behind your exhaustion. Before we go any further, I need to mention something important. Everything we're discussing today is for educational purposes only. This isn't medical advice. Think of it as information to help you have better conversations with your healthcare provider. All right, let's start with something simple. A coffee machine. Think about a basic filter coffee maker for a second. When it breaks down and gives you cold, brown liquid instead of hot coffee, you can usually figure out the problem pretty quickly, right? The heating element died. Simple machine, simple solution. Replace the part or buy a new one. Now imagine one of those fancy coffee machines with all the bells and whistles, multiple brewing options, smart connectivity, touchscreens, the works. When this machine malfunctions, troubleshooting becomes a nightmare. You might spend hours trying to find the problem. Is it the processor, the sensor, the software, a loose connection? It could be anything. Here's the thing. Your body operates like that complex coffee machine, except it's infinitely more sophisticated. I'm not exaggerating when I say it's arguably the most intricate system in the known universe. You've got countless interconnected processes working in harmony every single second of every day. And here's what's really fascinating. When one system begins to struggle, others step in to compensate. For minor issues, the ones that last a few days or weeks, this backup system works beautifully. Your body is incredibly resilient. But what happens when small problems persist for months or years? That's when things start to break down in ways that seem mysterious and frustrating. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Meet Peter. He's a 50-year-old bank employee who spends his days sitting at a customer service desk, solving other people's problems. After 8 hours of that, He drives home and collapses on his couch to watch the news. His only real movement each day? The walk from his front door to his car. That's it. After several years of this routine, Peter starts developing knee pain. At first, it's just a twinge, but gradually, it gets worse and worse, eventually leaving him limping. On top of that, he's got lower back pain and has had a few bouts of sciatica. The pain in his knee becomes so bad that he can barely make it to his car. Now, most people, including Peter, would assume this is just about his knee, right? Maybe arthritis, maybe an old injury catching up with him. But here's where it gets interesting, and where most people miss the real story. Peter's knee pain didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's actually the final domino in a chain reaction that started months earlier. Think of your body like a tent held up by several poles. When one pole moves or tilts, the whole tent shifts to stay balanced. Your body works exactly the same way. If one part is out of alignment, everything else adjusts to keep you steady. Peter's long hours of sitting created a ripple effect throughout his entire body. His core muscles, the ones that should be holding him upright, gradually became weak and lazy from lack of use. When your core can't do its job, other muscles have to pick up the slack. Some muscles start working overtime, becoming tight and overworked. Others get stretched out and weak. Over time, this shifted how his hips, knees, and ankles lined up. By the time Peter felt that first twinge in his knee, his whole body had already been quietly reorganizing itself for months. Now, Peter's story is illustrative. Only a qualified medical professional can determine what's causing symptoms like these. But the principle here? It's backed by solid research. Back in 2019, researchers in Denmark did something remarkable. They analyzed data from more than 10,000 working adults and found something that should make all of us sit up and pay attention. The longer people sat, the more pain they experienced, and not just in their backs or necks. We're talking knees, shoulders, hips. The study showed that sitting essentially amplifies pain throughout your entire body. The more you sit, the worse it gets. A couple of years later, in 2021, another team conducted a massive review of multiple studies, both workplace and non-workplace settings. Their findings? The connection between sitting and pain held up across the board. It didn't matter how old you were or what job you had. But here's the hopeful part. Even moderate physical activity could meaningfully reduce this risk. Then, just last year in 2024, researchers published a comprehensive review that really connected all the dots. They showed that prolonged sitting isn't just a musculoskeletal problem, it's wreaking havoc on your entire system. Metabolic dysfunction, fatigue, even cognitive decline. This modern, chair-bound lifestyle, it's contributing directly to the kind of whole-body exhaustion and discomfort that people like Peter experience every single day. When you put all this research together, the message is crystal clear. Chronic inactivity doesn't just hurt one joint or one muscle. It creates a cascading effect of strain throughout your entire body. And that's exactly why pain and fatigue so often show up together. They're both your body's way of signaling that something deeper is out of balance. This is just one example of the hidden connections running through your body. And here's what I want you to understand. There are dozens of these invisible chains linking seemingly unrelated symptoms to their true causes. Throughout our episodes, we'll reveal these secret connections so you can understand what's really happening in your body and make changes that actually fix the problem, not just mask the symptoms. Our bodies are remarkably resilient. They're constantly making tiny micro adjustments to keep us functioning, despite our less than ideal habits. At first, these compensations work so well that we don't notice anything wrong. The deterioration happens gradually, like watching a plant slowly wilt. You don't see the change day to day, but if you compared today to 6 months ago, you'd see a dramatic difference. We often dismiss those early warning signs. I just need to get through this busy season at work. Once the kids are back in school, things will settle down. After this project is done, I'll take better care of myself. Sound familiar? But eventually, our body's compensatory mechanisms become overwhelmed. And you know what's really frustrating? The breakdown often happens suddenly, at the most inconvenient moment possible. Right before an important exam, a big presentation, or a long-awaited vacation. Have you ever noticed this? How you seem to get sick right before the holidays? It's not Murphy's Law. It's biology. Your body's been running on reserve power for so long that when you finally allow yourself to relax, it crashes. The stress hormones that kept you upright suddenly drop, and your suppressed immune system can no longer fight off that lingering virus you've been carrying. Researchers at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands found that sleep deprivation and stress create a reciprocal loop, each one worsening the other. It's a downward spiral that becomes harder and harder to break. So let's talk about what chronic exhaustion really looks like, because it's not just feeling tired. And I want to be very clear here. These are general signs that researchers have associated with fatigue syndromes. They're not diagnostic. Similar symptoms can result from a wide range of causes. Always talk to your healthcare provider before drawing conclusions. Let me paint you a picture of what this condition often looks like in daily life. First, there's unrefreshing sleep. You spend 8 or 9 hours in bed, yet wake up feeling like you never slept at all. Or you consistently sleep less than 7 hours and can't seem to get more. Second, chronic pain. Headaches, muscle aches, back pain, stomach issues. They become your constant companions. You wake up with them, you go to bed with them. Third, digestive issues. Alternating between constipation and diarrhea, bloating, discomfort, sometimes heartburn. Fourth, a weakened immune system. You catch every cold that goes around, and you take longer to recover. And fifth, one that really frustrates people, exercise intolerance. Physical activity makes you feel worse, not better, sometimes for several days afterward. But that's not all. The problems go beyond physical symptoms. They affect your mind, your emotions, your behaviors. Brain fog is a big one. Simple tasks take twice as long. You forget appointments. You walk into a room and have no idea why you went there. Emotionally, you might feel overwhelmed, anxious, or unusually sensitive, even in situations that wouldn't normally faze you. There's this creeping sense of hopelessness, like nothing will improve. Low self-esteem. Everything feels heavier than it should. And then, caffeine becomes your lifeline. Large coffees in the morning, energy drinks in the afternoon. Running on caffeine and willpower. You start avoiding friends and family because you just don't have the energy. Activities you once loved feel impossible. Sleep? Forget it. You lie in bed replaying the day's events, worrying about tomorrow. The cycle continues. Even basic self-care, cooking, cleaning, showering, can feel monumental. If you're recognizing several of these patterns, take a breath. You're not alone. And it's not too late to regain control. The knowledge we're sharing today can help you have better conversations with your physician. And that's a big first step. Now, here's where most people get frustrated with general health advice. They try to fix one thing at a time, and they wonder why nothing gets better. The truth is, everything in your body is connected in ways that aren't obvious at first glance. Let me give you an example that might surprise you. The connection between poor sleep and weight gain. Of course, poor sleep makes you tired. That's no surprise. But what's happening inside your body is far more dramatic. When you consistently sleep less than 7 hours, your body starts playing tricks on you. It's like your internal control system goes haywire. You've got two main hunger messengers. One says, "I'm hungry." The other says, "I'm full, stop eating." When you don't get enough sleep, the "I'm hungry" messenger gets louder and louder. And the "I'm full" signal becomes a whisper. There's a fascinating study from the University of Chicago, published back in 2011. It found that people who sleep too little have their hunger hormones completely reversed. The hormone that makes you crave food, especially sugary, fatty foods, spikes up. The one that tells you to stop eating drops down. It's like your body is sabotaging your willpower from the inside. But it doesn't stop there. Poor sleep also messes with how your body processes sugar. Even if you eat the same foods, your body is more likely to store them as fat instead of burning them for energy. The link between insufficient sleep and weight gain has been clear for over a decade. That's why you might find yourself standing in the kitchen at 10 p.m. eating ice cream straight from the box. It's not because you lack willpower. It's because your sleep-deprived body is literally screaming for energy, and your ability to say no has been chemically suppressed. What's especially eye-opening is how common this problem has become. People who chronically sleep too little are significantly more likely to gain weight or develop metabolic issues. So, it's not just about being tired. It's about how sleep loss rewires your entire relationship with food. Everything in your body is connected. Sleep affects hunger. Hunger affects stress, and stress affects sleep. Once you see those links, you realize fatigue isn't random. It's a map you can learn to read. Over the past few years, I've been digging through research from all over: nutrition, exercise science, sleep studies, psychology, and the more I read, the more I saw these patterns. When one system struggles, other systems start to falter. The catch is that most research zooms in on just one part of the picture. That's what inspired me to create something I call the 4 Pillars Framework. It's my way of connecting the dots, bringing those scattered findings together so it's easier to understand how the body actually works as a whole. Now, just to be clear, this framework is for educational use only. It's not diagnostic or clinical. Here's the basic idea. There are 4 core areas that form the foundation of our daily energy and well-being. Think of them as the 4 legs of a chair. When all 4 are strong, we feel stable and energized. But when one leg weakens, the whole thing wobbles. And here's what makes it tricky. When something goes wrong in one area, it sends a ripple through the others. It's like tugging one loose thread in a sweater. Suddenly, the whole thing starts to unravel. That's why working on just one thing, like dieting or sleeping more, rarely works long-term. The weak areas keep pulling you back down. Let me walk you through each pillar. Pillar number 1 is fuel, nutrition and general health. This is all about what you put into your body and your underlying health conditions. We're talking about processed foods and sugar crashes that leave you drained. Inflammation that your body has to constantly fight. We're talking about hidden hormonal cycles that regulate your energy throughout the day, hidden health conditions like thyroid dysfunction, insulin resistance, or gut health issues that can silently drain your energy. Plus, those essential nutrients your body desperately needs but isn't getting. Pillar number 2 is movement, your physical foundation. Remember Peter? This pillar covers what I call the sitting disease and muscle weakness that develop when we don't move enough. Those postural problems, pain patterns that create chronic tension and movement dysfunction. Training mistakes people make when they go from zero to hero in one night, trying to fix everything with one intense workout. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. Pillar number 3 is mind, mental and emotional health. This includes your thought patterns, those negative thinking loops and rumination that keep you up at night. Your social connections, or lack thereof, isolation, the comparison trap, relationship health. Your stress response, how chronic stress impacts your body and your coping mechanisms. And here's something really important: living without purpose. When you don't have a sense of meaning or direction, it drains your energy in ways that are hard to describe. Pillar number 4 is rhythm, daily habits and circadian health. This pillar covers your sleep hygiene and circadian disruption, your digital habits, social media addiction and screen time impact, and time management, procrastination, feeling overwhelmed, productivity issues. Now, here's the key insight. These 4 areas function like a house's foundation. When one area is weak, the others must work overtime to compensate. Eventually, they all may start to decline. But here's the hopeful part, and I really want you to hear this. When one area strengthens, it naturally supports the others. Better sleep is associated with healthier eating patterns. Regular movement correlates with improved sleep quality. Reduced stress is linked to enhanced immune function. Strong relationships provide emotional support that makes all the other behavioral changes easier. The same connections that made the problem complicated are what make recovery possible once you understand how to work with them. Okay, I'm going to be really honest with you here. The uncomfortable truth is that there are no shortcuts to recovering from persistent fatigue and low well-being. I know that's not what you want to hear. We all want the magic pill, the one weird trick, the quick fix. But here's the thing. The very mindset that seeks quick fixes, the same one that led to taking shortcuts with sleep, nutrition, and self-care, is part of what created this problem in the first place. This doesn't mean recovery is impossible. It absolutely doesn't. It just means it requires a systematic approach that addresses multiple pillars simultaneously. Think of it like renovating a house. You can't just paint over water damage and expect it to look good. You need to fix the leak, repair the structural damage, and then address the cosmetic issues. If you just paint over the water damage, it's going to come back. It might look okay for a week or two, but eventually you're going to see those stains bleeding through again. The good news, and there really is good news here, is that once you begin addressing these interconnected issues, improvements in one area naturally support improvements in others. The same interconnectedness that made the problem complex also makes recovery more effective once you understand how to work with it rather than against it. So let's talk about your path forward, because that's what this is really all about, right? Recovery from chronic feelings of fatigue and low well-being isn't about perfection. Let me say that again. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about identifying which of these areas are most problematic in your specific situation and creating a realistic plan to address them systematically. Some people might need to start with lifestyle factors because their fatigue is so severe they can't function well enough to make other changes. Others might begin with addressing psychological patterns or seeking medical evaluation for underlying conditions. The key is an honest self-assessment and a willingness to invest in your long-term well-being rather than seeking immediate relief. And you know what? That's hard. It requires patience. It requires self-compassion. It requires accepting that some days will be better than others, and that setbacks are part of the process, not signs of failure. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few simple questions. Try to answer them honestly as you reflect on your day. Did I feel refreshed when I woke up this morning? How many times did I reach for caffeine just to get through the day? Did I move my body today in any meaningful way? Did I experience more negative or positive thoughts? Was there a moment today that felt truly mine? These aren't just checkboxes. These are signals, your body's way of telling you what it needs. You can find a full 7-day checklist on our website for free, and I strongly encourage you to try it. In just 1 week, you'll start to see patterns emerge, patterns that can change everything. Don't try to tackle everything at once. That's a recipe for burnout and frustration. Instead, identify the 2 or 3 areas where you recognize the most significant problems in your life. These will likely be your highest impact starting points. Maybe it's your sleep that's really suffering. Maybe it's the fact that you haven't moved your body in weeks. Maybe it's the constant mental chatter and stress. Maybe it's your nutrition. Be honest with yourself. And here's the thing. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to have a perfect plan. You just need to start paying attention and gathering information. Your future self, the one who wakes up refreshed, tackles challenges with clarity, and has energy left over for the people and activities you love, is waiting for you to take that first step. Start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because let's be honest, the perfect moment never comes. You have to create it. Stop guessing, start knowing. Listen, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, that's completely normal. We've covered a lot of ground today. But here's what I want you to remember. Understanding is the first step. You don't have to fix everything tomorrow. You just need to start paying attention. Change is possible. Recovery is possible. And you have more control than you think. If you found value in today's episode, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with friends or family who might be struggling with similar issues. Sometimes understanding that we're not alone in this struggle and that there are real, science-based explanations for what we're experiencing, that knowledge alone can be incredibly empowering. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'll see you next Tuesday with the next episode in this series, where we'll dive into a topic most people rarely think about, but one that's absolutely essential for our health and well-being. Until then, take care of yourself. You deserve it. Your Space Today is published weekly. For detailed information, disclaimers, and scientific references, visit the links below this podcast. This podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your healthcare provider regarding any health concerns.